Pfizer messenger RNA in the bloodstream. And the body has kind of put a little phospholipid packet around it called an exosome, but it's physically in the body 3.5 years after the shot. The spike, there are no human enzymes that are known to break down the spike protein. Spike protein and the messenger RNA is found directly in cancer now. About 20 base pairs of Pfizer we can actually see right in the tumor DNA. So this is
It's interesting. I do want to talk about the biopharmaceutical complex. And I do actually want to talk about the journal industrial complex as well too. But just quickly on that, you mentioned beforehand, I think that are you finding just spike protein 3.5 years later, or are you finding mRNA still lingering 3.5 years later as well?
Well, in those who've taken the vaccine, we're finding both the Pfizer messenger RNA. We've yet to study Moderna, but Pfizer for sure, 3.5 years after the shots. Vaccine spike protein 3.5 years after the shots. That's the full length spike protein. And those who've had the natural infection, the tip of the virus, the S1 segment, can be found in the human body about 2 years after the infection. And finding the spike protein in the body is related to symptoms. People having trouble with heart damage, blood clots, nerve damage, long COVID. In fact, the spike protein and the messenger RNA is found directly in cancer now.
Interesting. Okay, I want to quickly expand on that a bit more. There's probably something I'm missing, but how is it possible that it's still lingering that long after the fact? Wouldn't the immune system be basically cleaning up everything? And just for rough clarification, when you're saying you're finding it, are you basically just taking like blood samples and just PCR and we can see that it's still kicking around?
Well, let's take the messenger RNA first. So using a lab in Germany, in Modia, and using a PCR technique that actually finds multiple primers on Pfizer, for sure, we're finding the Pfizer messenger RNA in the bloodstream. And the body has kind of put a little phospholipid packet around it called an exosome, but it's physically in the body 3.5 years after the shot. The spike protein with the vaccine, it's held open by 2 proline inserts into what's called the pre-fusion conformation, so it doesn't undergo any receptor-mediated catabolism. And there are no human enzymes that are known to break down the spike protein. I think it was very specifically engineered to stay in the body a very long time. And that's one of the reasons why Farkas and colleagues concluded it is a bioweapon. Now, with the infection alone, just the tip of the spike proteins in the body, and it actually is found inside monocytes or forms of white blood cells. Hopefully the body is digesting this and getting it out. But the fact that the spike protein is so resilient to enzymatic breakdown, and the fact that the messenger RNA, there is no human mechanism by which we can get rid of Pfizer, Moderna, is greatly concerning.
I'm curious, for someone that would have taken the vaccine, you talked about blood clots and potentially, I think it was nerve damage or nerve issues as well too. What sort of symptoms are we seeing for long COVID patients, people that still have the circulating in their body? And in your experience, is there any effective treatment for actually helping to deal with it once identified?
Well, there's 4 major areas where both long COVID and the vaccine, and both, and remember the vaccines don't work, so patients got COVID anyway. So they have what's called a combined or hybrid injury. So and so those who took the shots and still got COVID anyway, or in some some order, those are the people worse off. And 97% of us have had COVID, and 81% of us have taken a vaccine. So we're talking about the majority of people here. We're seeing syndromes along the lines of cardiovascular, which includes myocarditis, pericarditis, advanced atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, arrhythmias, cardiac arrest, proven, neurologic, paralytic syndromes, Guillain-Barré syndrome, transverse myelitis, stroke, neuropathies. We're seeing autoimmune, which are various forms of mixed connective tissue disease, rheumatoid disease. Thrombotic, like Fauci had, a blood clot that shoots to the lungs, thrombotic syndromes elsewhere. Big blood clots that are amyloidogenic, they're rubbery, they don't seem to dissolve well with blood thinners. And then a 5th area of concern not proven is cancer. Now, the approach has been brought forward by the wellness company. It's the only company that has evidence-based, peer-reviewed approach to deal with the spike protein, and the product's called the Ultimate Spike Detox. So this is what Ultimate Spike Detox looks like. It's been on the market now 3 years, supported by multiple peer-reviewed publications. It's the combination of medicinal-grade high-dose nattokinase, bromelain, curcumin, and other minor ingredients. But in preclinical studies and in clinical studies, it degrades and dissolves the spike protein, helps people get this out of their body.
Good. Well, it's good to hear we at least got something to try and deal with it. We mentioned a couple of times now cancer as well. What is it that we're seeing in terms of, is it just an uptick in, instances of cancer in the population, or what are we seeing that is of concern with regards to the spike protein in cancer?
With the pandemic, we've seen the emergence of the term turbo cancer. That means a cancer presenting at a younger age, a more advanced stage, and it's more aggressive in its progression. And National Cancer Institute's reporting this. Has been on the cover of Time magazine last year. So this is well recognized. Female breast, reproductive, colon, prostate, lung, not all cancers, but these solid organ cancers seem to be skyrocketing. When examined, we're finding the vaccine and the spike protein is playing a role.
Interesting. What is your, do you have a mechanistic hypothesis as to what's happening there, what's causing it?
The best paper to quote is by Anguis and Bustos, and it's called the multi-hit hypothesis of oncogenicity of the COVID vaccines. And it has to do with the fact that the spike protein impairs our tumor defense systems, BRCA and P53. So that would be spike protein from the infection as well as the vaccine. So the infection may put us at risk. But the genetic vaccines were a very, very bad idea. They never cleared oncogenicity testing preclinically. And the messenger RNA vaccines, we know messenger RNA because it's very long-lasting, is pseudo-uridinated. It impairs DNA repair. Sadly, it changes gene expression. We've demonstrated that in multiple studies, and at least part of it actually integrates into the human genome. So this is bad news.
Really? Sorry, yeah. It's integrating into the human genome, like what is that, retrovirus?
Right. Well, it's not the entire code. Now, in a preclinical model by Alden and colleagues in Yang D. Marinis, they were able to show at least an amplicon, a 444 base pair, got into the human genome from Pfizer within a matter of hours. We've demonstrated in a woman in her 30s with an aggressive bladder cancer from the vaccine that it's about 20 base pairs of Pfizer we can actually see right in the tumor DNA. So this is bad news. We think, by the way, this is probably dose related. So the people who've had the most doses of messenger RNA could be at the highest risk of cancer. And this would apply also to messenger RNA influenza vaccines and respiratory syncytial vaccines, which were allowed on the market again with no preclinical cancer testing.
Two things I kind of want to hit on there. I'll start with the one. In terms, I remember, which year was it? It felt like one of the years there was no deaths from influenza, which just seemed like a complete statistical impossibility. If we look outside of just the SARS-CoV-2 vaccines, do you have concerns? We mentioned influenza. Are there other ones on the market that you have concerns with at this point?
Yeah, so all the messenger RNA vaccines. So right now it's influenza, RSV, and the COVID vaccines. Pfizer, Moderna do not look safe. I don't think fundamentally the platform looks safe or effective. Moderna's got Ebola and hantavirus vaccines in testing right now. Moderna has cancer vaccines in testing. I don't advise anyone to take a messenger RNA vaccine. They haven't passed the basic preclinical testing for oncogenicity, teratogenicity, or genotoxicity. There's no published pharmacokinetics of how they get out of the body. So if you take a shot of messenger RNA, how do you get rid of it? Our data suggests the human body doesn't get rid of it. So I think the entire platform has been kind of waived on the market here by the US FDA. It's been very ill-advised.